This is the second video in the series explaining the AutoRig tools I've written for Animation College. The first video introduced the spine rigger. I'll rig this character's spine very quickly. This video is for the arm rigger. The arm structure is fairly straightforward. We have a clavicle, elbow, wrist, and hand joint with fingers. I've got a few extra hand joints in here that I've been using to help me with the hand rigger, but we'll get into those a little bit later. The arm rigger asks for the shoulder joint. It does expect that it is part of a structure, that the clavicle is above it, but we're asking for the shoulder joint. It's easier to select. Select our shoulder joint and we'll rig the arm, and that's completed. We've also got a main controller. We're starting to build the structure for our character rig, so we'll need to do a tidy up after the end of this video to make sure everything's grouped under our main control. So what have we here? We have our IK controller, and our pole vector, controlling our arm. We have a clavicle control that will need to be restructured. It's not designed to be moved, it's a rotation control. That will need to be restructured underneath our shoulder control. We'll get to that in a little bit. Here's our IK-FK switch. So now in FK mode, and we can just walk down the chain to our elbow and down arrow again to the wrist. There are helper locators, if I turn those on. They're designed to help you switch from IK to FK. Say for example, I have an animation. I'll set a key for that. Actually, I'll set a key for all my FK. And I'll pose my hand, pose my elbow, pose my arm. At this point in the animation, I want to change over to IK. Select my main controller and come back here. It's kind of difficult to figure out where we should be. Our helpers will help us out. So if I turn those off, you can see we have a controller here. So I'll select my wrist, select my controller up here, use our parent align tool. We can do the same to our pole vector. Parent align there. Set the key there. Set the key there. So we come back to FK mode, and we're in the right position. So the helpers will help you go from IK to FK back again and maintain the same position. Alright then, I'll just pause the video and I'll tidy this scene up. Now we're back in the default space. I'll give a brief explanation of a few more controls. The IK controller here also has parent space switching. At the moment it's parented to the shoulder, so when the clavicle is rotated, the arm will move with it. But we can parent the shoulder to various other anchors in the world. So now it's attached to the world. Head, hips and prop. So we have a new main controller here. And a group controls under this, that, and a group of node transforms. So we should be able to get our spine follicles and our ribbon spine and parent them in there. Our control torso can go under controls. A left clavicle control can go straight underneath our shoulder control there, parent that in there. Now, my example already has a pair of controllers. They're just sitting out in world space. They have the same orientation, and I'm just going to put those under my main control group. While I'm there, I may as well select my geometry and my joints and put them in here as well. So you want to keep tidy and you want to be organized, otherwise rigging can be quite the disaster. The main controller here has an offset, and we should reparent that so that the controller can come to a zeroed out state. Use the rigging tool zero out here. Now ultimately we can add parent switching space to our control torso, so it might be a good idea to give our controller two parents. That way we can use this null object, this transform node, to add constraints to. We need to set up our anchors. We don't need to set this one up. Anchor world is sitting in zero space there. We could have used the main controller for that, but I think it's tidier just to leave that there. We may as well just lock and hide that so it doesn't go anywhere. When I select the anchor hips, you can see our controller is pops pink. So we already have a link to our controller here. So let's go to hips, select that as the parent space. If we select our anchor hip here, we're moving our arm about. Now you just want to constrain our hips, our anchor hips to our hip here. So I'll select our hips there. And there's our anchor hips there. In the animation menu, constrain, parent constrain, maintain our offset. Just add. So now we're already in hip space. Select my wrist control. So we're already in hip space. So now if I select my hips here, hand moves along with it. We don't yet have a head controller for our character, so we'll leave that go for the moment. We do have an anchor prop that already exists, so I'll select our hand controller here and go into prop space, and we'll unhide our prop, just sitting down here, and now our hand is in prop space. And we'll work quite easily on the other side. May as well do that. Arm rigger. Select our shoulder joint, rig the arm, and then just do the tidy ups. So there's our controller for our right clavicle. Select our shoulder joint, parent that in, and it's even easier. That's all done. So that's the brief overview of the arm rigger. We'll finish the video there, and when we come back for part 3, we'll rig the character's leg.